fingers crossed lots of you are here to join us and that we've got over some technical issues finally. Let's hope. So today we're going to do our Facebook YouTube lives again. Anybody that's interested, we have now got a way of transferring all of our live shows or programs, videos, whatever you want to call them, over on our YouTube channel onto our Facebook page and onto our website. So you can go on and see these lives just as a video rather than clicking in the live. So if you aren't able to make the lives and you want to go back and see anything, or if you're watching and you want to go back and see anything, you can do that on our website now. So if you are there, we would love you to give us a quick comment just to let me know that you are there. Well, hey, here we go. So yay, we're good on Facebook and we're good on YouTube. Hi Tracy, sorry, the red YouTube comes up here as comments in red, and when I've got the lights on in here for the Facebook lives, it makes it really difficult to read the names on here. So thankfully we are all going strong. Good morning from North Carolina. Right, so those of you that saw it, Facebook this week, I popped a picture on of a card that Mum had made quite some time ago when we first launched Garden Daisies stamp set, and I said, how about doing this for YouTube Live? And lots of you said that that's what they would like to see. Good afternoon, Anne, sitting in the car knitting. How do you knit and watch this and eat lunch all at the same time, Anne? You're obviously just fab. So all of this is available on our website, which is honeydewcrafts.co.uk, or overseas we have a .com as well, but either will get you to the same place. Hi Ruth, hi Di. Right, so let me whip that one out of the way for a moment. So we are going to use Garden Daisies. We're just literally using the sentiment out of our birthday messages. So Garden Daisies, we're using the sentiment out of not birthday messages at all. It's called out of Make a Wish, and it's called Birthday Wishes is the sentiment we're going to be using. Hi Jan. We're going to use our brick wall stencil. Obviously we're going to be using our blending brushes. Hi Marie from sunny Liverpool. It's not very sunny here. It was lovely earlier. It's still quite cold though, don't you think? So we've got the large blending brush that comes in the case, and the smaller blending brush which comes with the cap on the top. Hi Lynn. And we have got our black, we actually do black cardstock, and we have a black paper as well now. So we've got either of those, whichever you want to use, and obviously our white Supersmooth, which comes in the 250 or the 300 GSM. Well, you're just a clever lady, Anne. I don't think I could manage to do all of that. I've got so much stuff on this table today. Once again, nowhere to put anything. So we're also using the sticky glue that comes in the two sizes, both in stock at the moment. We're using crystal clear embossing powder. We will be using Versafine Onyx Black and Distress Oxide's Hickory Smoke. Hi Sharon. Hello Kay. Hi Sue. Hi Mum. And then our Zig Clean Colour pens, the real brush ones in Lilac, which is 83, Yellow, which is number 50, and Cobalt Blue, which is 31, and obviously an anti-static bag as well. So let's get all of this stuff cleared out of the way, and then I can get started. I've got so much stuff on here, and I always start this sitting down. Hi Catherine. But I never do the demo while I'm sitting down, and I don't have huge amounts of room in this place. So I have to move my chair out of the way while I'm talking to you so that I can make everything work. We get there in the end. Everything finds its home, sort of. Right, so cardstock today. We are back to an 8x8 card again. So we have the 8x8 card. We've got a piece of black cardstock, which is 7 3/4 inch square. we have a piece of white which is 7.5 inch square, and a smaller piece of white which is a 6.5 inch square. So we are going to, oh, we're also using what I affectionately call our Wendy board and a scoring board. I didn't have any new ones to show you because the delivery hasn't arrived. But we do have a few of them back in stock now. So, but as fast as they're coming in, they're going out again. So bear with us on this. We're trying to keep them in stock, but it's not that easy. Right, so hi Tina, hi Angela. Since you were 4, I did get taught to knit once, but I didn't kind of carry it on. I'd love to be able to do it, but I can't say I can. So we are using what I affectionately call the Wendy board, which is the Make Art Station from Ranger. And we're going to take this. Now, obviously we're using the brick wall, which our brick wall is level. It's no wonky bits on it. If that makes sense. It's a kind of a straight brick wall. So there's a couple of little tips to give you here. Hopefully you've cut your paper straight, which isn't always the case, me included. So I line this up with the grid that's on here. Then I'm going to line this up on here as best I can. Now I want to do top to bottom on the big piece. So this is our 7.5 inch square. So I'm going to roughly line that up. I think we're about there. And pop the magnets on there. Now there's a couple of little tricks that you need to know about doing this. Obviously, if you can or can't see, I'm not sure how from here because the light's bouncing a bit. Hang on a minute. See if I can move that round and see if we can stop that bouncing a little bit. That help? Hopefully you can see that. Obviously our stencil ends here. Actually, it ends here. So we're going to have to repeat it. A couple of little tricks. I've got the big blending brush. I'm using Hickory Smoke, but you don't want it to be too dark. Please make sure it's not too dark. Who's joining us here? Is that Julie? I think it says. Oh, these lights are dreadful to see this screen. So really going to go really quite light with this because we're going to be stamping on the top of this and then we're going to be colouring on top of that. So you don't want to, because you're colouring through the stamp, the stencil will be able to be seen through. So you don't want to be too heavy-handed with this. Particularly if you've kind of got it in your head roughly where you want it to, your stamping to be. It will make sense as we're going along. I just moved those stamps out of the way. Now, a couple of extra tips. Because we're repeating it, do not go up to this line hard because you will end up with a half brick line right in the middle and you don't really want that either. And the other thing is, don't kind of go in on a solid, don't go kind of straight up and down on a solid line there. You just want to keep it quite light and sort of random-ish on the edge. I'm going to lift that just to see what we look like. Let me see that under the shadow, through the shadow. So I'm going to lift this off because I'm quite happy with that part of it. And you can see what I mean. I haven't gone in hard on the edge here. This is kind of quite solid. This is still kind of airy-fairy. It would actually look quite cool just left like that if you were happy to leave it like that. But I'm not going to because I'm going to show you how to marry this up. So we're then going to go over here. Now don't marry it right up with the edge. Give yourself a little bit of leeway. So long as this side is covered, you've then kind of got somewhere to go with it. She says. So again, you're going to try and line that up as best you can. But you know, if it's not perfect match, it doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, this is a handmade card. So again, I'm starting on the outer edge just because it gives me time to kind of get in the flow. Again, avoid getting too close to this hard line. And we're just going to lift this off. I do hang on to that stencil when I've lifted that bit off there. And again, that's just my personal preference, because I want to make sure that that stencil doesn't lift off at all. If it does, it's not the end of the world. But avoid that line. Remember, avoid going too close to that edge. So I'm just going to have a quick look and see how we're doing. Yeah, I think that will do us. So that is our brick wall stencil copied over. I may have missed a few. Hi Mandy. So I am just going to then quickly grab this one. Now it's entirely up to you how you do this. I am going to position this in the middle. So you could score this first, or you can stencil it first. You are just stenciling down the middle of this particular piece. The sides you don't really need to worry about. It kind of gives it an off look. You don't want it too harsh. And again, I'm not going to do the solid lines down the side. And that is supposed to be roughly in the middle, and it's not at all. There we go. Roughly in the middle. Now again, I'm not reloading this brush because I really just want a really light shadow on here, and I'm just going to go down the middle. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, that's absolutely plenty. So I didn't reload the brush. There is a real slight hint. Bear with me 2 seconds. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get there, but I'm trying to. Ooh. Sorry, I am still here. I'm just trying to be able to see on the camera and on the screen so that I'm not missing something for you. I think we may have frozen. Oh look, no, you've got me just on a white screen for ages. So this has got a really, really, really pale touch to it. And that's it with your stencil. You don't need that again. So we're then going to go on to doing our scoring. You don't need your board again either, unless you choose to use the board for anything like your measurements or layering and stuff I showed a few of you a couple of weeks ago. Now, there's a couple of things I'm going to tell you to do with this scoring lark. I need you to score this. This is your 6.5 inch square at 1/2 inch and 1 inch and 5.5 and 6 inches. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I try and score in this side corner here, it's always slips. So I am going to score my 1/2 inch here, and then my 1 inch here, and then I'm going to spin it round, and I'm going to do my 5.5 inch and my 6 inch, both exactly the same. So that is your choice. I've give you 1.5 or 1/2 and 1 and 5.5 and 6. Because that's just the way it goes across here. That makes my life a lot easier personally when I'm doing scoring. So I'm hoping that it helps you guys too. I must have got you all mesmerised today because hardly anybody's speaking to me. So that's our score lines done, and I'm just going to fold these in. Now I don't know about all of you, but I do find that the tools that come with scoring boards kind of, they mark after a while if you use them for too much. start to get like rivets and things in. So I've got these fab little things. The fact that they're pink is always a bonus, isn't it, with me? And I've just put my score lines in there, and I've used, oh sorry, my fold lines in there from the scoring. And I've used those to flatten it out. They're completely smooth. They don't appear to be getting any ridges in them. I've had them ages. Hi Teresa. And I'm not getting any ridges. So that really, and you get all 4 different designs. So you've got all sorts of different wacky weird tools here. This works great as well through your scoring board. So yeah, just thought I'd share that one with you. So we are going to be using our garden daisies. I'm going to go back to my big piece. Personally, I think I've maybe gone a bit heavy on this, but we'll see as we go. It's always a bit of fun, isn't it? Now, obviously, I've done this today, this afternoon, on the telly. So I am just going to go over the top of that with the anti-static bag while I remember, because I'm going to be putting crystal clear embossing powder on the top. And so we've got the black Versafine, so it's Onyx black. I'm going to ink that up, lots and lots of little light taps. And then work out roughly where you want your image to be, to sit on your page. If you want to go right down to the bottom, you can. I am going to go probably slightly up, I think. Let's have a look. See what I think. It's got 1 and 1, so the only thing is, if you do decide to go slightly up, you need to remember to line it up for the next one. But I think I will go slightly up this time. So we're going to do 1 on this side. Now half of this you're not going to see, because it's going to be hidden underneath part of your card, but you will still see some of it. So plenty of time to allow that ink to soak in there. Don't take your hand off the block once you've put your hand on there. And peel that off. I'm going to put my embossing powder on there straight away. So it's the crystal clear embossing powder we're using for this one. Give it a light tap to get rid of the excess. Don't give it a really good flick, because as I've said previously, Versafine and embossing powder are not the best of friends, so you may lose a lot more of your powder if you do it that way. And then we're going to ink the stamp up again, lots of little light taps. And I recommend that you put your acrylic blocks flat on the flat surface to ink your stamp up, rather than holding your stamp in the air and putting your ink to it. How could you have forgotten us, Elizabeth? Oh, how rude. Right, so remember, we're kind of roughly lining up here. We're taking a whole long route across. Doesn't have to be perfectly lined up, but it's nice if you can line it up as best you can. The only thing I've done is the bit I prepped earlier, I did them all on the same level. So that bit that I was trying to do ahead, you're going to have to watch me colour it all in now. So you've only missed a little bit, Elizabeth. I'll let you off this time. So remember, we've got embossing powder on here already. I just haven't heated it. So I'm going to go in with the second side, and I'm going to give that a little light tap. But be careful, because you don't want to knock the powder off this one as well. And if you really want to, you can go in and do this piece as well. That's entirely up to you. I'm going to do it just because then it's all the embossing is done at once. I've just popped those other 2 pieces off to one side. Now the reason I put my score lines in before I stamp it, which can make it a little bit more difficult, is so that I've got a rough idea where my middle is. And I'm hoping that's about right. If not, we'll go back to the one I did earlier. Anyway, I'll let you off, I promise. There's no hard feelings. I won't take it personally. Just don't do it again. So again, plenty of pressure, make sure all that ink soaked through. And there we go. Again, embossing powder on there before we do too much chit chat. And I'm going to go the whole hog and pop my sentiment on there as well. Now, if your sentiment doesn't go on straight, or if you prefer, because you're not particularly confident in putting that sentiment on straight, you could always put your sentiment onto a scrap bit, a smaller piece of paper. I say scrap, but it would be all the bits that you've chopped off I keep to do all my sentiments on. So you could go straight on and do it on a sentiment. As you noticed, I'm not rushing to get this all heat embossed, because once the powder's on there, it's not going anywhere. That's the bit that always like, what if it doesn't go on straight? So hopefully it will. And I'm going to heat emboss that one too. So that's just birthday wishes from our Make-A-Wish stamp set. So that's all the heat embossing done. So I figured once the heat guns started to heat up, it's warm then, isn't it? So I can keep it going, the paper cardstock's warm. It makes it all happen a little bit quicker. So we will go with our bigger piece. Notice this bit doesn't matter. You're not going to see that bit in the middle. So heat your heat tool up. Again, I will be heating from underneath, but you don't have to. It does take a little bit longer when you do it from underneath as well, so be aware of that. Just mind your fingers when you're doing it from underneath. It does get very warm under there. I think this particular card would look quite cool done with white embossing powder on black cardstock as well. I should have tried that and just done like a monochrome version of it. I was just thinking about that. I thought I'd share that with you. I might give that a go. So you're literally just chasing that embossing powder as it melts. You move the heat gun on. Just make sure I haven't missed any. And then we're on to our little topper piece. So that is all the heat embossing done. Hi Margaret. Who was it that joined us? Lynn's Crafty Corner. Welcome all. Right, so I'm going to just give that a little bit of a wiggle because it's gone a little bit out of shape, because as it does. Same with this one. And now the fun begins. We get to colour it in. Now I'm using the clean colour pens, as I mentioned. But with the clean colour pens, you do need to make sure that you blot this as you're going along. So you need a piece of kitchen paper. So as we're going along, we are just going to keep going over the top, just blotting it, just to make sure that we don't, I'm going to start blue, I think. Just to make sure that we don't smudge it. Obviously, wherever we've put embossing powder, the pens are going to resist it. So the ink will just sit on the top if you don't remember to blot it. Now this is just our super smooth, so we have no blending going on here. So you're just going to go in, you don't have to go over it. Just be careful to stay within the lines, but you can scribble over the top quite happily. So you pretty much, all I'm going to have done on this card ahead of the live is cut 3 pieces of paper out. I didn't really want that one to be blue, but it's going to be now. Got carried away, look. Yeah, so all I literally did was cut 3 pieces of paper out ahead, and you're going to be with me to colour this whole thing in. Lucky yous. Just because I decided to do something different on this one. So remember, go in and blot those. And it doesn't take up a huge amount of ink, but it takes up enough that if you smudged it, it's going to go one heck of a long way. We'll go with a different colour now. Pop in, put yellow up here. So as I said, you're literally just going to go in. You don't want, I mean, we've done a version of this on one of our workshops. It wasn't this particular card, but it was using this technique. And it's a really nice technique to use. I'm debating what colour, where I'm going to go with my colours. Threw myself off, look. It's a really nice technique to use, and when I did it in the class, I did it all in pink and just had one flower in the middle as a different colour, which I think I did it in yellow. I think all the rest were pink and this one was yellow. So I did the background wall in pink, everything was in pinks. Funny that for me. But the main accent in the middle, the pop colour, was bright yellow, which was quite cool. I've really thrown myself off with that, doing that blue there. Oh well. We'll just have a bit more blue on here than I was expecting. Now this is what I mean when I say to you, you need to be cautious about how heavy you do your stenciling, because you want to be able to hide those colours underneath you're colouring in. So either go with darker colours to colour in, or be really light to touch with your stenciling. I don't know about anybody else, but I go really quiet when I start colouring. So if I'm ignoring you, I apologise. I just looked up. I think I've got you all mesmerised as well. So as I say, you don't have to go in each individual petal as you're going along. You can scribble over the top. Just remember to go in and blot, which I haven't done yet. So hence I'm keeping my hands well off this page and keeping them on this piece of kitchen paper. That way I'm not going to smudge it, because I wouldn't be happy by now. Remember, blot. And then last but not least, we will pop a little bit of lilac up here. And we're going to pop a bit of yellow in the middle on this. And I think we'll have a blue butterfly. I'm sure there are blue butterflies. Wouldn't know, but fingers crossed there are. So that is your topper piece done, the hard bit done. We have 2 more sets to colour. Now obviously we don't want them to be coloured exactly the same. I am going to colour all of the flowers, but you don't have to, because only half of these flowers are going to be seen. The only reason I'm saying to colour them all is if for some dreadful reason the front part of this as I call it, the topper part comes off, there's still something nice and pretty underneath. Depends how strong. Yeah, I did go a little bit heavy on my embossing, I think, on my stenciling on this piece, because my colours are quite light. So you are kind of seeing some of that brick wall come through the petals. But we'll just pretend that the sun's highlighting it. Not that I've got much sun going on here at the minute. It was beautiful this morning. Lovely blue skies. A little bit hazy. But now it's grey. Grey, grey, grey. Remember, be careful with your hands where you're popping them. You do not want to smudge. And I'm just going to do my butterfly in yellow. I thought I'd do all my yellow work on that one first. Being a bit cheeky, are we? Is that Tracy? There's a lot of you that watch me sneakily at work. I'll let you not comment. And so long as you can turn the screen off before your boss comes around the corner, we're right. So yeah, we're just literally colouring in. Obviously the bigger ones you have to go petal by petal, because there's a slightly bigger gap in between each petal on the larger flower. But you really are seeing me right from the, almost right from the start on this one. That blue goes a long way when it smudges, so be a bit careful if you're going to go with it. It's nice done in pencils as well, so if you haven't got the clean colour pens or any pens at all, colouring pencils will work just as nice. But it also looks nice just black and white, or grey and white and black. So you don't necessarily have to colour them in if you don't want to, or just one particular one flower in the middle colour in or something. That would look quite cool as well. I'm just going to go in and pop a little bit of yellow on there because it's a bit... Common blue and holly blue butterfly. See, I knew there was a blue butterfly somewhere. Hi, Jackie. So I wasn't losing the plot. Very randomly last night when I was out with Maisie in the garden, she found a butterfly in the middle of the night. I've never seen butterflies around at night. I don't suppose it probably should have been there really. So we protected it, put a little thing around it so she couldn't get to it. And it wasn't there this morning, so either it flew away or something took it. Who knows? Angela. I seem to have written your name a lot this week, Angela. No risk of the boss seeing. Well, that's quite handy, Tracy. It's always handy when nobody can see what you're doing. I work from home, sort of, I suppose, don't I? But I work for myself, so that's a bit different. But I don't know if I could be completely committed to the same as if I was working in an office, if I was working for somebody else. I'm sure there's lots of distractions. You have to be pretty tough on yourself. So that's one done. As I said, you're only going to see half of this, but I'm going to do both because I would quite like to make sure that we've covered all bases. Just be careful not to smudge on this side when you're colouring. This is actually a really quite a quick card to make, which is quite nice sometimes. We had a slightly more relaxed start to our Facebook Lives. That was a bit more organised, which was quite a nice feeling. Very rare for me to be that organised. I was sat here waiting for you all. Should have come on a bit earlier and we could have had a bit of party before I started, eh? So we're now going to go in with some blue. As I said, you don't have to do these all in different colours. You can just leave them white if you wanted to. or you can do them all in a solid, all in the same colour, all in shades of a colour, different shades of pink or different shades of blue or lilac or even green if you really wanted to, I suppose. As I said, that blue's quite juicy. I suppose that would work. I mean, I have music playing when I'm working, so why should it be any different for anybody else? Sometimes people that can hear me probably wish I didn't have music playing, because I do tend to sing along to it, and if it's one I like, I turn it up really loud. So I couldn't be very sneaky if I was doing that in an office, could I? I've been busy working on our latest Christmas release, so it's been a bit... No, I haven't had Christmas music playing, and maybe I needed to. So we're just about finished with that, so that will be coming out shortly. Maybe that's right, Tina. Maybe it did think it was a moth. Who knows? Maisie thought it was fun anyway. Little monkey. She's a proper little madam, that one. Right, we are going to go in with another blue, I think, up here, just because otherwise I'll end up with... I need to split my colours up a bit. So we are almost finished with this particular part of the design. Again, blot as we go. And last but not least, pop in a little bit of lilac here. If you don't have pens as well, you can use a paintbrush and inks to do this as well. So again, blot all those edges. So that's that piece done. We have this piece done. Now we need to stick this onto this, and in the meantime we need to stick that onto the black. So I'm going to stick our main piece down first. You could even ink all the way around the edges if you wanted. I'm keeping mine quite clean, but you don't have to if you want to ink around the edges, or if you've smudged a little bit. It's always a good way of hiding things. But I definitely feel that that butterfly probably shouldn't have been out to play last night. Paul Martin's still out painting. I think last week he was painting fencing. This week he's painting our deck, which is his worst job, I think, out of everything he does. I am just, rather than risk this smudging, I'm just going to pop my kitchen paper on the top of those to press that down, because I don't want that to smudge. Okay, so that is our sort of main part done. We're now going to go on to this piece here. So we're going to stick tape on the outside ½ inch that you have done. I'm wondering if I should use red tape. I think I shall use the red tape, just because at the moment my fingernails are all snapped off and I'm finding it really difficult to get the tape off. And for some reason the red's a bit easier for me. Saying that, and it now won't be at all, and it's not very forgiving either, so we'll just have to, if it goes wrong we wing it, hey. Won't be the first, and I'm sure it won't be the last. So as I said earlier when we first started this live, we have all of our videos. See, look, I told you, it's not going to let me pick it off. get a pin. All of our videos are now available over on our website. It's on the website at the very, very top. It says videos or demos or something like that. It might even say demo videos. Who knows? Might say it all. And if you click on there, it takes you to all of our videos that are available to watch. And they go right back. We started doing Facebook videos. We've been doing the live since before Christmas, every Wednesday, but the Facebooks we have, well, the demo videos we started them at the beginning of lockdown. So right, so those eagle-eyed of you will notice I did the tape and then I have put red, I did the red liner tape and then I have put glue on that red liner tape. Now you are just going to fold that first, I should have done this one side at a time, shouldn't I? That first piece over first, that 1 inch. Bear with me a second. No, we're not doing the first piece, we're doing the whole thing. Right, let me explain that again. So we have our inch piece here, half-inch piece, and then the inch. So you're folding it on the inch line on both sides. I've got more glue on my fingers than I think was left on that red liner tape. Note to self. And then we're going to roughly line these up. Done that right. Right, so we're now, can you see how we are? Roughly now. The best way. We want these in the middle. And I want this so that it will fold down flat. As I said, this gives you a little bit of wiggle room. Is that going to be the best way? Right, I'm going to go back and show you that. So, we have got, let me think how I did that. Can you see? This is the full inch, and we've got red tape along here, and our glue went along here. Then I folded this piece the ½ inch, and this piece will have the glue tape and the tape down. Position that roughly where you want it to be, because it needs to fold flat to go down. So if you do that, it will then pop itself back up like so. So I know that was a bit of an awkward way of explaining that, wasn't it? So I'm going to go back in. I told you I did one earlier, so I'm going to show you again roughly how to do this. So I'm just going to do it with glue. So the two very outside portions. So I'll put the glue, and I would recommend tape as well. This is just because I'm not going to use this one. And so the whole piece is folded flat. This side, just the ½ inch is folded flat. You're going to line this up, mind's eye on this. Otherwise you'll end up with it being slightly off center when it pops up. Okay. Don't give it too much of a shove if you're just using glue. See, that's why you use tape as well. No, I've got to put tape on there. It's not going to hold it for me to explain. See, you try and take a shortcut and it all goes wrong, hey? Don't do shortcuts, it's not good. Does it make sense? Have I made sense to you now? Because I don't know if I made huge sense to myself. Now it will stay. Trying to get that camera so you can see. Alright. If you have any questions on this, please feel free to send me a message. Right, so we now have our card base. Remember what I always say, carry your design through to the inside of your card. So before you stick your topper down, take your stamp. Blimey, 45 minutes, where did that time go? I suppose from doing a card from start to finish, not too bad. I'm just going to get a little section down the bottom here, but because I know I'm not going to get that full butterfly in, I'm not going to get any of that butterfly in, so I don't want it in half and half, if you know what I mean. If you wanted to, you could colour that in on the inside as well, heat emboss it, whichever you would like to do. I'm not going to do that, I'm just going to quickly get this bit finished inside for you. I'm glad it makes sense. Because I don't know if I really made huge amounts of sense to myself. So remember, carry that design through, and then we're going to stick this on the front. And the idea is that obviously that front piece folds down flat, so it will fit inside your envelopes. And obviously you can size this up and size this down, so it's entirely up to you how you do it. You can have it fold the other way if you prefer, whichever way you want it to. I've got glue on fingers. Now I'm feeling a bit like my daisies, a bit in the air here, so I probably would try and ground those a little bit. Let me think, what shall I use? Maybe just, I've got a pencil here, I haven't got any colouring pencils, but just sort of ground them. I have no idea what HB this pencil is, but I know that I can usually manage to just to smudge that. It doesn't look like I've just scribbled on there with my finger. So that is how simple this card is. Quite quick, quite easy. As I said, literally straight from the beginning, and you had to watch me colour it all in, and you had to listen to me waffle. And obviously I have to explain it as I'm going along, whereas you're just going to put it all together yourself. So let's go back and have a look at what, so a little bit up close. So that is our card. We will see you on Sunday, and I assume you're going to be in Lincoln. Yeah, for those of you that want to know, we are in, flies just arrived. We're at Lincoln Showground this coming weekend for a fabulous Craftorama. And then we are in, yeah, so that's at the Lincoln Showground from 9 till, no it's not, it's from 9:30 if you've already got your tickets, and from 10 o'clock if you are buying tickets on the draw. So today we have got this, we've used the Stencil brick wall. We have used Garden Daisies stamp set, and we've used the Sentiment out of Make-A-Wish. We used this set of stamps a couple of weeks ago. The pens we used, I'm going to go through those in just a second, Sharon. Then we have the Versafine ink. We have used Hickory Smoke ink. We've used the blending brushes. I only used the big one, but obviously they do come in the 2 sizes. We've used Crystal Clear Embossing Powder. We've used our sticky glue that comes in the 2 sizes. And we have used the cardstock. We, as I said earlier, we do the Supersmooth in 250 and 300 GSM, and we do the black in a heavier weight cardstock and a lightweight paper as well. So that's all those bits. And the pens we have used are Cobalt Blue number 31, Yellow number 50, and Lilac number 83. And they're the Kuretake Clean Colour pens, Clean Colour Real Brush pens. We sell them individually. We can get them in the sets for you as a special order. But yeah, we do them individually just because otherwise I find I end up with lots and lots of colours that I don't really use, if I'm honest. And I'm all about honesty. So that's, oh, and we use the anti-static bag. Don't forget your anti-static bag if you're not going to leave your inks to dry off a little bit. I'm now going to try and get my seat back in so that I can talk to you. I used to try and do that really quietly without you knowing. Late again, Lorraine, you missed us. You'll have to go back and watch us on catch up. Not quite catch up, but you know what I mean. Right, so you get my ugly mug now. So there we go. Can you repeat the colour, Oxide colour? It was Hickory Smoke that I used today. But you can use any colour. I've done it with the pinks, I've done it with reds, I've done it with yellows, I've done it with everything. Just be careful not to be too heavy-handed with it because you need to colour over the top of it. So I think that's everything. So as I was saying, we are at Lincoln Showground with Craftorama this weekend. We're right at the entrance as you come in, you can't miss us. And then the following weekend we have our workshop in Coventry. Looking forward to seeing you all, ladies. And then the weekend after that, I believe we are in Thetford, which is in Norfolk, which is local for us. Those of you that are coming along, it's a really lovely little show. It's at the Thetford Leisure Centre, I think Breckland Leisure Centre it's called. So if you didn't know about it, it'd be lovely to see you all there. And then the week after that, we are at, again, a Craftorama, and it's in Kent. Those of you that may have previously booked in for the Be Creative or Be Crafty event, Be Craft, or Create It events it was called, that got cancelled last September. If you still have your tickets or can prove that you bought your tickets previously, the new organisers of this event are accepting them, but you do have to register with their on their website to do so. So if you're interested in that and need some more info, feel free to pop me a line, or you can go onto the Craftorama website. I'm sure it will come up on there. That's enough, I think, about telling you where I'm going to be. As I say, we're working on the Christmas release, which will be with you in a couple of weeks. I'm doing any workshops in the south. I am looking for venues, Elizabeth. I'm also looking for an extra couple of months in the year because I've completely run out. We do not have a weekend off now until middle of July, and then we have a couple of weeks off that we're going to be on holiday for, and then back in and come back, and the week later we're back into workshops or into shows again. So yeah, it's a crazy life really. It never stops, but we love it. So just going to quickly ping you back round so that you can have a look at the card finished once more. And again, remember, carry that design through to the inside. One in Spain would be fabulous. Who knows, Lorraine? You never know what's coming your way. So have a lovely afternoon, everybody. If you've got beautiful sunshine, please enjoy it. And if you have, please send some down the south or southeast. East Anglia would be lovely. And if not, happy crafting. And we will see you again next Wednesday at 2 p.m. As I've said before, if there's anything you particularly like to see us do on these Facebook, YouTube lives, please let us know and I will do my best to try and cover it. Take care, and we'll see you.